Tottenham make it 3-3 in the 96th minute. They come from 3-0 down. 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of the game. Spurs were dead. Spurs were buried. It was over. It was finished. They were out of here. And they fought their way back into the game. 3-1. 3-2. 3-3 Richarlison. First Premier League goal. Shirt off at Anfield. Tottenham keep their top 4 hopes alive. And then 10, I repeat, 10 seconds. 10 seconds later. Bottle Job FC strike again. They strike again and they concede within 10 seconds of saving the game.
How dare you?
How dare you? You're right, Greta Thunberg. How dare you? Absolutely horrendous. Listen, today was a game of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Scintillating at times from Liverpool. Scintillating at times from Tottenham. But awful defending from Liverpool. Awful defending from Tottenham. These two both need massive surgery in the summer. Don't let today's win. Listen, Liverpool fans, celebrate it. Of course, celebrate it. You won a game. Your hopes of top 4 are still alive to a degree. But Liverpool, listen, Jurgen Klopp will be in that dressing room now ripping into these players for throwing away a 3-goal lead. But Tottenham, if they had some bottle, they'd be dangerous. How do you drag it back to 3-3 with no time left on the clock and lose? How? It beggars belief. They will be sitting in that dressing room now stunned. I was about to say it'll feel like a loss. It is a loss, but they won't know how. Professional fighters sometimes get knocked out clean unconscious and often don't remember anything until 45 minutes, an hour later. They'll be in an ambulance or a hospital bed and they'll kind of come to their senses and then almost not remember the fight or leaving the ring or what happened. That is going to be the case for these Spurs players. They're going to be on a coach or a train or an aeroplane on the way back to London. They might be sitting at home tonight with their missus. It could be turning up to training in the morning and suddenly, whoa, it's going to hit them. And they're going to think, we just drew 3-3. Oh, no, we didn't. Mora got his first assist of the season by setting up Diego Jota. Absolutely horrendous. From a scintillating, nail-biting, enthralling comeback to sheer, unadulterated embarrassment within a few minutes. Within a few minutes, that is the turnaround on that is absolutely ridiculous. And Audrey, I've just sent you the link, bro. I saw you in the comment section. Absolutely horrendous. And you've got to call it out for what it is. Spurs did so well to fight their way back into this game. Absolutely impeccable. And we'll get on to Liverpool in a minute because there's some problems with that football club. The win today doesn't paint over the fact that defensively, there needs to be 2 or 3 players purchased in this summer. Even with Trent moving into the midfield role, there's still big defensive issues. But Spurs almost did this the other night against Man United. They got back to 2-2 and then sat back. And look, if United were a little bit more on form, they could have scored in that last 10 minutes. Rashford had a shot that went close. A few good balls into the box, well defended. They switch off. Now, the word bottle job is thrown around a little bit too much at times, and I get that. But what it essentially means is you don't have the mental capability to see things through. You don't have the mental strength to maintain an advantage that you've gained. That is all it really means. That is it. And this Spurs team are weak. If anything, you should go on to win the game from there. If anything was going to happen after that point, You're in the ascendancy. Absolutely in the ascendancy. And I understand this isn't a permanent manager, but big things have got to be addressed at Tottenham this summer. I don't know how they fix the mentality. I think that's board level, ownership level, Daniel Levy's level, because that is where the true heart of a club is created. People don't think it is, but it is. You know, the old managers of old, the Sir Matt Busbys, the Bill Nicholsons, the Paisleys, the Shankleys, the Cloughs. They were the head coaches like Klopp and Pep and Ten Hag, and they were the directors of football. They were the Levys and the Glazers and the like. They did both jobs back in the day. Another reason why football's different now. And they were the core of the club. They set the standard. Spurs are losers, and you saw that today. Someone here says bottling a 3-0 lead at home is more embarrassing, but they didn't bottle it. They collapsed. They threw away a 3-0 lead, but they won the game. Liverpool didn't bottle it in the end. Results-based business. And if this was like once in a blue moon, every now and then, City lose like this. Every now and then, the brilliant Liverpool team under Klopp lost like this. But you didn't call it bottling per se, unless you were bantering, because you know how good they were. This is indicative of Tottenham. Indicative. It shocked me, but then it really, really shouldn't. Let's go to some of your listen, I'll say this now. Tottenham are broken. Tottenham are broken. Yes, they came from behind, and you've got to give that element some credit. But they've conceded 7 goals in the opening 15 minutes in their last 3 games. They'd only conceded 6 in the opening 15 minutes for the entire season in all competitions until the last 3 matches. That's a mental problem, not a tactical one. They came from behind today, which shows when their backs are against the wall, they can play. But it's meaning the fact they can't play like this from the start is a mental issue, not a tactical or technical one. Too many football fans ignore the mental side of sport and just focus on technique and skill and stats. And they're all important parts. They are all important parts. But the lack of mental fortitude, strength, and the inferiority complex that Tottenham feel, that needs to be addressed. Before you start thinking of players and managers and systems, that has to be addressed at the core of the football club. And the fans have to demand high standards always. They simply do. Without fixing that, nothing else matters. Your foundation has to be strong. You could have the best bricks, the best roof, the best interior designers, the best windows, the best furniture, great sound systems, iPlug ports in all your walls, Bluetooth over your house, jacuzzis, swimming pools. If your foundations are built poorly, that house is going to fall the fuck down. Period. Point blank. And all years, a lot of Spurs fans online have come for me because I've called this out. I'm trying to help your club. I'm trying to help your club. I'm trying to help you, but you want to attack me. Demand the best. Get the best. You deserve it, Spurs fans. You pay more money than anybody else. Listen, you know, most of you are working class people and you pay ridiculous money for what you get back. And there's no pride in your club. What pride possibly could Tottenham be taking from the way they play football and the way they conduct themselves? It's crazy. TG here says you are so biased. What is there to be biased about today? Liverpool are the team I hate the most in the world. And if you could explain how I'm biased, please do, my friend. There's no bias at all. I'm speaking pure, unadulterated, cold facts. Tottenham do not have the mentality to win major honours. And you saw it today. On Liverpool, as I've already said, brilliant 15 minutes and then collapsed. And Liverpool have been gettable all year. What sees them through is the amount of world-class individual talent they have in their team. But a big overhaul has to happen in the summer. You can look at Jurgen Klopp, and a lot of people, Liverpool fans, tell me I'm wrong. It isn't Klopp. It's the players. So let's focus on the players. Konate is not it at the moment, but I think there's a future there. But when he gets rattled, he becomes erratic. Should have got sent off today. 110% should have been sent off. He already booked. The pullback on Richarlison, it's a yellow card and a penalty. 110% not give him. Trent, when he plays in midfield on the ball, very good. But still defensively, so unaware and so out of position so regularly. The drop-off from Van Dijk is horrendous. I know he kind of slipped today, but he was slipped because he was caught off balance. 18 months ago, the world was scared to attack him. Scared to try and dribble past him. Now, they look forward to it. And Andy Robertson has followed suit. He's become almost complacent and lackadaisical at the back. Alisson's still brilliant. Not a fault, in my opinion, for the goals today. At all. Still fantastic. Out of this world. Probably him or Mo Salah would have to be player of the year this season for Liverpool if they give out that award. Yes, we know the midfield needs to improve, and I understand the midfield protects the back line, but you need 2 or 3 new defenders as well, without a shadow of a doubt. That formidable back line that Liverpool had is well past its best. Well past its best. And Jurgen Klopp has got to work out who is the catalyst to that problem. We see at Man United, we take out Harry Maguire, we get fundamental improvements, generally speaking. We're 10 months into our rebuild. We're not a club that has had the same manager for the best part of a decade, who should be a well-oiled machine. Something's gone wrong personnel-wise there. And if Klopp's staying, which it looks like he is, that needs to be addressed massively. Of course, improving the midfield will help them because they should theoretically be exposed less, but you don't want a ticking time bomb at the back. You don't need that because Liverpool standard is not top 4. Liverpool standard is competing for the Premier League title and competing to win the Champions League. Close with no cigar is not success for a giant club like Liverpool. So that definitely needs to be addressed because they will be very upset. Liverpool fans won't be able to say they're upset online today because remember, Jurgen Klopp has banned you from criticizing the team, criticizing lineups, criticizing players, criticizing remember that you can't do it. He laughed at you. So you can do it here. The Football Terrace is always a safe space for Liverpool fans to come and express themselves. We will not have a go at you for having an opinion. Absolutely, we will not do that to you. But big changes needed in the summer because throwing away that 3-0 lead is a madness. Like I said, when we got beat 7-0, the biggest bit that annoyed me is Liverpool were very good on the day. But if we would have just got ourselves together, kept in shape, we could have got some goals back. It's there. We created chances. The only Liverpool fan who called that out on the show was Zayn. Sort of said, calm down, people. But look, it is 4 wins on the bounce for Liverpool. 7 points now off of the top 4. United play their game in hand next against Brighton. They lose to Brighton. It's 7 points difference with 15 available. If United win, then it becomes a little more precarious. Then you're looking at a 10-point gap with 15 to play for. It would need United to lose at least 3 of their last 5 games if they are to win, get a place in the Champions League next year. But, excuse me, I'm still getting over this chest infection. Is there for Liverpool. At least Liverpool now have made the end of the season exciting because most people think the title race is over. And if the top 4 race was over as well, literally means every single game's a goddamn dead rubber for a month. And we don't want dead rubbers for a month, do we? We want there to be a little bit of fun. Terry, you man bottled a 2-0 lead against them. We did, and we criticised it, and we said it was bottling. And we equally called out the amount of those Man United players that won't be here in the future. We also called out you've got to remember, today, defensively for Jurgen Klopp, is his back line and his best back line. We had Luke Shaw playing. We had our left back, playing at centre back. Our main 2 centre backs out. We haven't even purchased the manager's right back yet, but we criticised it, and rightfully so. Your response can't be, Terry, but you drop points to Tottenham, so you can't talk. That isn't how the Football Terrace works. I know where my club, where that would hold water is if I was criticising your club for something that I didn't criticise my own for. That would be hypocritical and would make me a beta. But that isn't what I do. I call my club out for my mistakes. I call rivals out for their mistakes. I praise my club when we do well. And we'll know as Liverpool fans watching, when you're brilliant, I praise you. But to act like conceding these leads and defending like you have done this year isn't a problem at Liverpool just because Man United have got defensive problems is strange. Man United having issues won't fix your problems, my friend. As much as you may want it to, saying, well, Man United are bad, great. That fixes the issues at Liverpool, doesn't it? That's a mad one. It's a mad one to me. It's crazy whataboutism, and it doesn't ride here at the Terrace. We're not that kind of channel. So tackle on Diaz wasn't a potential red card, What tackle on Diaz? I must have missed it. I actually don't know which one you're talking about. We'll put that one I'll say that one for the panel. A lot of people are talking about Jota's. Should it be a red card? I've seen them given. I mean, Mane got sent off a few years back for it. I know a lot of Spurs fans are asking for the red card. We'll talk to the panel about that when they come out. That game shouldn't have been as hard as it was. Complacency was ridiculous. But how the F did we win that in the end? Mora doesn't like Merseyside. No, he certainly doesn't. Shane here says, Terry, you have to play expressions last 3 minutes. I certainly will, my friend, on fan channel reaction. Don't you worry. Jota should be sent off. We'll come back to that one with the panel. Jota scores when he should have had a blatant red card. Well, listen, I will say this. The amount of times that happens in football is crazy. The amount of times a player that you think should be sent off gets a winner, it's what happens. Richarlison and Son doing the pigeon dance, then concede 10 seconds later. Yeah, because it was the last kick of the game. They equalized with the last kick of the game. It should never, ever, ever have gone that far. Crazy that it did. Crazy. Football gods, X had a room full of bottles for Robbie on DR Sports, and Spurs go and do this. It's the history of the Tottenham joke club. I really do think this football gods thing that I've been talking about is going to catch on and spread. I think it's going to stop. Consistent banter every day. I think it's going to slow it down for the right moments because everybody seems to be getting caught out by it. Do you know what I'm saying? Spurs yet again bottle it. Delete the club. Daniel Levy is what Debbie says. Only Spurs could bottle another team's bottle job moment in 10 seconds. Came with another pointless goal under no pressure. Well, I think his goal was under pressure because they were losing. But you are right. It goes down as another pointless goal for Harry Kane because his team didn't win and their season's falling away. Man's got 25 Premier League goals and they mean nothing. It's crazy. At least for Spurs, Perisic's finished Van Dijk. The consolation, I suppose. The Spurs bottle job dresses over Van Donkey's game. Not on the Terrace, it won't, my friend, because we're fair and consistent. In 10 seconds, Liverpool, Spurs, it's over, is what Debbie says. Blick Gemini says, a wise football manager said, football will kill you. I agree. Spurs fans are brave. This club is a criminal scam of a team. Spurs are the biggest bottle FC ever. They are a disgrace. And yet Spurs fans wants to chat to Arsenal for bottling their leads. I understand the ref did poorly today, but it's Spurs. I mean, Klopp should have been sent off. What did Klopp... I'll rephrase. The commentators were saying he should have been sent off. What did he do? Someone in the comment, what did he hit? Someone said he hit the ref. Or he touched the ref. I'm seeing comments, but what did he do? Terry, we do not deserve those 3 points today. We did F4 after Salah's penalty. 0 shots on targets until Jota's winner, is what Ozan Kabak has got to say. Evening, Terry and everyone. Klopp did his hamstring while celebrating. We need 3 midfielders and at least 2 centre-backs and a right-back. I don't disagree with you, bro. Jerome here says, how did we bottle after coming back from 3-0 down? Liverpool don't lose at home often. Remember, we have Sunday League defenders as well. Yeah, I have no idea how you did that, bro. Colossal mistake. Not even a Harvard. Wow, this is going to be difficult for a dyslexic to read. Something Dictorian. I can't read that word out, right? Can explain how Spurs did that. That must be a clever person, but I don't know how to say that word. Did AC Milan bottle the Champions League in Istanbul? They'd be called bottlers now for losing it. But you know what happened in that game? AC Milan was celebrating at halftime. AC Milan came out and thought the game was done. If they would have come out and in their heads thought it was 0-0, Liverpool wouldn't have come back. I know Liverpool fans won't want to hear that, but it's the truth as far as I see it. Man United, when we came back against Bayern Munich, they'd taken all their best players off and were on the bench celebrating. We nicked a goal as an equaliser, and they switched off. They switched off. We weren't better than them on the day, but we beat them. And that's what happens sometimes. That's partly what bottling is. It's mentality, switching off, thinking things are won, becoming complacent. That's what they come down to. Omar, I did read out your first super chat, bro, but I didn't understand it. We're going to bring it to the panel. Tottenham paid refunds everywhere they go. They could be paying more this week. Lots of poor decisions from Paul Tierney again. Skip tackle on Diaz. On Diaz? Okay. Jota, high foot on Skip. Pen shout, great game, dramatic ending is what's been said there. And Kane should join Chelsea. VVD doing the conga. He should join Man United, but he should definitely. I think United because I like him, but there we go. Someone here says it's pronounced. What? Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to read that out loud. I'm dyslexic. Me trying to do like spellings online is a myth for me, brother. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. Right, I'm gonna bring my panel out now to have their say because today was nothing other than a goddamn madness, and we need to unpack this. Make sure you stay with the terrace. Make sure like buttons have been hit. And remember, you may not be a Man United or a City fan, but we are giving away in our raffle 2 FA Cup final tickets and £250 spending money. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the description below to enter now. Unlimited entries are allowed on it, so go and get yourself signed up. Debbie here actually says they can't even stop Jota in 10 seconds. I feel bad for Richarlison. If I was him, I would leave. Well, he might be the main number 9 next year when Harry Kane leaves, but we will see. Time for the panel now, my people. Let me just get rid of that super chat. Sorry. Oh, why is it not going away? There we go. I'm going to bring everybody out now. Let's do this. Welcome back to the show, gents. Orchie, you brought it back to 3-3 just for 10 seconds later. And listen, for some men, 10 seconds is a long time, but to throw it away like that in 10 seconds, my friend, talk to me.
It's disgraceful. I mean, to be honest, the first half was disgraceful, as always, as is. But yeah, I mean, all you have to do is just, like you say, hold on. And I don't know. I mean, Moura, okay, I understand he wanted to bring in some fresh legs and stuff, but, you know, this guy's leaving at the end of the season. It's already been confirmed. And, you know, yeah, I mean, just crazy. I mean, he hasn't really played in the main team for a long time. He's been out injured. He's played in they don't have reserves anymore, I guess. But yeah, I mean, what can you do about that? It's just like an individual error. You know, I don't know, mate. But to be honest, I mean, today's game, you can break into 3 halves. Obviously, the first half, as always, we had another game where we started absolutely disgracefully. I mean, I was gonna turn off, to be honest, but I thought, no, let me see. I wanted to watch the game and have a better idea of how the performance is going to go. But again, they came out in the second half, and if they played like the way they played in the second half, you know, in so many games this season, it will be such a different season. But obviously they don't. I don't know why. And before, we were always speculating whether is this a Conte thing? Was he, you know, telling them to sit back and not really play, start the game strong? But Conte's been gone for a long time. Stellini's been gone for a few weeks, and look, they're still doing it under Mason. They're doing it as well. So it's clearly the players, and they just, you know, I don't know what to say. But yeah, the second half, the way they came back. I mean, we had a few chances come off the post as well. And I thought it was just not going to be our day-to-day. But, you know, it's not the reason why we lost that game. But, yes, I definitely 1,000% Jota should have been sent off. Definitely. I mean, you know, he had a gash on the side of his head, for crying out loud. Son has been sent off before for a same sort of kick in the chest, and his boot was so high. That was definitely a dangerous play. That would have, nobody could have complained if you got the red card, and he should have been sent off. And then there was another penalty shout on Richarlison that I think you mentioned as well. We didn't get given that penalty either. So, you know, unlucky in the second half. Like the way we played in the second half, I think we at least deserved a draw. But you know, this is Tottenham, as you say. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot, in the heart, in the head. You know, and I'm just sick of it. I'm just so sick of it. I do want the season to be over, but we still got another few more games to go. And the one last thing I want to say is I 1000% hold Levy responsible for this. What kind of a decision do you make? All right, you decide that you're gonna send Conte packing. There was 9 games to go, 10 games to go. There's still enough of a season to make a charge, you know, to finish as strong as you can. And we all know when you get a good manager, and I don't want to hear any of this, oh, we'll wait for the end of the season bullshit, because you get a proper decent manager in there, and then that tells the players, right, I'm playing for my contract, I'm playing for my career. And if you don't want to play for Spurs, you can F off in the summer as well. So you've got 9-10 games to prove to that new manager that you want to be a Tottenham player, or you are a winner, or you are someone that wants to do better. But no, like this bullshit of, you know, we'll wait till the end of the season and then we'll get a manager. And it's ridiculous. And I know some people will say, well, you know, some managers don't want to come in with 10 games to go. It's like, well, you just get, you know, you put in this incentive. You say, okay, if you finish, like, let's say you finish 4th, I'll give you £1 million. What manager, even including Pochettino or whoever, or Nagelsmann or whoever it is that you're trying to get, what manager isn't going to come in with that sort of challenge with a nice big fat bonus at the end of it, to say, yeah, if you get us into the top 4, if you get us into the top 5, I'll give you a big fat bonus. Come now and sort this team out. What manager that's worth their, you know, money isn't going to come and do that? But no, Levy doesn't do that. Levy just, as always, the first person that I want out of this club is Daniel Levy, because yeah, you know what? As far as making money goes, he might be a really good you know, he might be really good at, you know, bringing money into the club. Fair enough. Okay, then step aside and you take care of all the, you know, money business, you know, organizing partnerships and whatever, and bringing as much money into the club as possible. But you put somebody else in charge who's going to take care of the stuff on the field.
I totally understand that. Just keep it on the game for a moment.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine, mate. No, this was the moment where obviously he doesn't touch the ball.
Zayn, I don't know why you're confused when he said that was a red. Zayn, why did you look confused?
Guys, let me just finish, please. Full studs in the head. I mean, a lot of people saying this is a red card. What are we saying, panel? What are we saying, viewers?
It's a red. It's a red.
It's the clearest red you'll ever see.
It's a red. I'm sorry. I don't know why you're shaking your head, Zayn. It's a red.
Why are you shaking your head?
You know why it's a red? It's the exact same thing Antoine Griezmann did to Roberto Firmino last season, and that was given a red. And I said it was a red. And the worst part is there was blood gushing out of his head. It was a red. It's 100% a red. I don't care if Skips was ducking his head down. It was above shoulder height. It was literally shoulder height his foot. It's a red. If anyone said that's not a red, they're deluding themselves.
If people look back,
they don't know the rules.
Okay,
Sadio Mane.
guys, one at a time so the viewers can hear you. What you saying, young Daniel?
Sadio Mane did this to Edison not too long ago, and it was a red card. Rightfully so. Zayn, why are you shaking your head? That is the clearest red card you will ever see.
So Zayn, why do you not think it's a red?
The reason why I don't is it was a genuine attempt to win the ball, and the force was more the guy putting his head into his boot. So that's the only thing I would say why it wasn't a red, because the rules state when it comes to a red card, there's certain conditions that have to be met. And I would say, I would say,
Zayn, I want to stop you as a host. Did you just say he headbutted his foot, basically?
I'm saying that the actual speed and velocity, it was the case he made a genuine attempt for the ball, and obviously the guy headed it and his head was in the way, but it wasn't.
The guy's head was in the way?
It sounds
Are you
like
serious?
it sounds like a Zlatan right now. His elbow running.
No,
Oh my
no,
God.
That's what I'm
I'm
hearing.
just
Come
saying
right now.
on, man. Come on.
Guys, go on, Jacob.
First of all, I'm gonna go to the kitchen and get you some syrup for all that waffle you guys, Zane. It's my first time meeting you. All respect given, I'm not trying to talk too much trash, but to say his head was in the way of a genuine attempt to hit the ball, that's complete shit in my opinion. That's just obvious bias. I mean, if you look at it from a neutral standpoint, I think 8 out of 10 neutrals would say, yeah, that's a clear red. Look at the still photos, that's a clear red. The fact that VAR didn't even go back to review that is atrocious. The fact that we're sitting here talking about the fact that happened, then the Richarlison thing, you know, make of it what you will. I'm not going to be too harsh on that, but a boot to the face. I'm sorry, there's not a damn league in the world you can go hit someone in the head with the bottom of with your studs out and you get a yellow. That is atrocious. At some point we have to talk about the officiating at Anfield because it is atrocious. The fact that Jurgen Klopp can run amok and act like he's a kid that just got to the playground for the first time. Oh, what's this, a jungle gym? Oh, I just fell. Oh, I'm on the floor. Oh, hey, hug me. Bro, get the hell out of there. Stay in your technical box. Give that man a yellow earlier. Give him a second yellow. Get him the hell out of there. This man is playing around like I don't even understand it. It is an embarrassment from VAR. It is an embarrassment from the officiating, the fourth official. I mean, he's out there hugging Klopp. What the hell is this? What is this?
Can I just say one thing on point, right?
I'll come back to you in a minute. I just want to say a lot of people are saying, what about the Oliver Skip tackle? So this was Oliver Skip's tackle. He wins the ball first in the footage, and then he catches the man afterwards. I understand I understand why some would say red. However, this wasn't a red card for Van Dijk earlier in the season when he didn't win the ball. So Liverpool fans said this. I did the live show after this game, and Liverpool fans unanimously did a poll, and it was about 75-76% said no red because it was more ankle height. So if this isn't a red, that cannot be a red either. So that puts that element to bed here. But I mean, for me, the Jota one, I was very surprised that he stayed on the football pitch because it wasn't like the man ducked his head down low, or sometimes you see them just graze the player or there's no real contact and they hold their face. It was full studs. It was full studs in the head. And look, Jota got absolutely away with one massively there. And so did Liverpool, because if you're down to 10 men, you probably don't come back to win the game. Jota wouldn't have even been on the pitch to do it. But we've seen, this is the thing, I'll call it out. We've seen bad officiating all year. We've seen 2 penalties, one today for City and one yesterday for Palace, that in my opinion had minimal contact. There should not be penalties. And I've seen 3 or 4 fouls today, not just in this game, but in the Man United game as well, where there was far more contact. And VAR doesn't review it. They don't look at it. I honestly think in the last 6 months, the decision-making has been horrendous. And I don't think it's a Liverpool bias. I'm not blaming Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool cheated. I think it's refereeing decisions in general, unless you think that sorry, someone's comment really put me off there. If refereeing in general, you know, yes, certain grounds have certain, you know, there'll be certain noises and biases and everything else that goes along, but refereeing in general needs to be looked at. It definitely does. There's a comment here that says, Terry, keep lying, Terry. Skip didn't win the ball. I'm just actually looking at the replay now in front of me. He 110% touches the ball first.
Real quick.
Can I just quickly say something?
Go on, Sam.
I'm so sorry, because yes, Jota should have got a red, 100%. But Skip also should have got a red. And
No,
then I was saying with Van Dijk with what Terry you brought up, I also said Van Dijk should have got a red as well. I'm sorry, because
the panel did say that you should have got a red.
One thing I don't like is that when it comes to our teams, and we all do this, when it comes to like a potential red card for the other team and stuff like that, we all shout about it. Tottenham fans, where were you shouting about it when you shouldn't have won against Brighton?
I didn't see nothing versus Brighton. I didn't see nothing. I came on here and I said the same thing. I ain't seen nothing, officer. You can take me to court. I plead the fifth. I ain't seen nothing. But today, look, Terry, I like a physical game. No, don't get me wrong. I like a physical game. The ankle stomping.
I'm gonna come to you in a second. Like my view, I agree with you, Sam. I'm just calling out the Liverpool fans in the chat who, on the poll on that show, 75% said no. The panel, very honest. You're right. But this is what I mean. And even with Spurs fans today, I've been calling this out for years. I'm the only creator doing it. When you sit there gleefully celebrating a bad decision that wins you a game, and it won't help fix the problem. What we actually need is fans and managers and clubs, even when they win games through bad decisions, to come out with the same energy. Because what happens is the referees associations in the Premier League can brush it under the carpet as, yeah, but they're just bitter because they lost. And no one really cares because everybody else is bantering them. We need football fans to come together. But the problem that you have is today Liverpool fans will say, Skip should have gone, though, as a bit of whataboutery. But then when it comes to Van Dijk, they'll find a reason and a scientific reason why he shouldn't be sent off. And then they moan about bad decision-making because we as fans enable the referees to get away with it by not being consistent ourselves. Again, another issue in football that is fan-led. Fans are the problem here more than the rest because we do nothing about it. We do nothing about it. We're weak. Sorry, Jacob, you were talking, bro.
That's facts.
My only point here when it comes to the physical aspect of the game, I'm all for it. I love it when a ref lets the game get physical. Ankle stopping, that's fine. I mean, a little shoulder, a little push, that's fine. He was letting those go. But there's a difference between making an attempt at the ball and getting someone's foot or ankle and making an attempt at the ball and hitting someone in the face with the bottom of your shoe. That is as clear and obvious. In my opinion, there's no excuse for that. I can excuse what happened to Richarlison in the box because, like you said, I like to call it fair. I never like to say, okay, a ref made this decision, that's why we lost this game. No, there's 90 other minutes outside of that ref's decision. That's why we lost that game. We went down in 3-0 in 15 minutes. That could be why we lost the game. Sonny hit the post twice. That could be why we lost the game. There's a lot of reasons why we lost today, but the boot in the face is inexcusable. You can show me the pictures of people's ankles getting crunched all day. That's another story. A boot in the face is a whole nother. We saw it 2020 when Jose was here. Son was falling to the ground and just flung his foot up, hit a guy in the chest, and he got an immediate red sent off. It was rescinded.
I completely agree, gents. And this is the thing. Reputation is important. If Richarlison commits that foul, red card. Because he's seen as a bit aggressive. If Casemiro commits, by the way, if Casemiro does either skips or Jotas, he's sent off. That's the inconsistency in these refereeings. And somebody here says, and they're right, that's all fans, Terry. We need to create like a little sign that comes up that says beta move. I know it's all fans. I've literally just said and called out all fans. Stop being beta and thinking I'm just focusing on Liverpool. I literally call this out weekly. All fans of all clubs. Stop taking it so personally, my friend. Really, you really do.
Can I add a final point on this, right?
Yeah, final point. Then we're doing some super chats. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret the Premier League probably got one of the worst referees in any leagues, right? We all know, and you've called out a lot of shocking decisions this season, right? So the reason why I'm quite nonchalant about that is that I accept that going into a game, knowing that you win some, you lose some. You're going to get some decisions against you which are totally unfair, and you're going to get some for you. So I don't never bitch about a referee because my thinking is, maybe it's old school, is that regardless of decisions, as long as your team makes more chances and scores more goals than the other team, that will negate those dodgy decisions because the referees are not ex-football players. And that's what I'm going to say. It's just...
No, I do.
You know what I mean?
I do hear that. Winning games by yourself, it negates the decisions.
Exactly.
The problem is we're not in 1999 anymore. VAR has come in to rectify these mistakes. And I personally feel that for the first 18 months of VAR, they were getting those kind of overturns right. And then everyone was, they're getting to the VAR too much. They should be. And not a clear and obvious mistake. I would love to hear the rationale as to why they didn't give certain decisions today. Then we'll find out when they're mic'd up whether or not they're making clear and obvious mistakes. That the penalty today City got, yeah, his leg comes across him, but the way Alvarez tucked his legs up and dived through the air, I looked at it and thought, anywhere else on the pitch, you don't get a foul. It was in the Man United game. Rashford got pushed in the back, went down, no foul given. About a minute later, we pushed one of their defenders in the back in their box, same way, foul given in the opposite direction. I need to hear in my ears why referees see those things differently. Because for me, it's starting to hurt the game now that they're not giving these decisions. It really, really is. But there we go. What's he say? Terry, buy an island and make your own rules, blood. First of all, Maradon, why are you saying blood? You definitely don't speak like that. That is not you and your background 110%. I can assure you of that. Plus that, that word kind of went out of fashion a little while ago. But buy my own island and make my own rules. No, I'm trying to make the Premier League adhere to their rules and their laws of the game, my friend. Very weird comment from you, Maradon the moron.
Terry, can I ask you a question?
Go for it, bro.
So when we look at the pay per game across all leagues, the top 5 leagues, Premier League refs are paid the least amount out of those top 5. Do you think that if we paid these refs more on an annual salary, that maybe they could get these decisions right? Maybe video assistant referee can actually do their job. Sorry, I almost cursed there, but it's just a shambles to me that why do you have a system in place that doesn't do anything to help the situation? Like, I understand this guy's one man on the pitch and he's trying to see everything happen at once. But anyone who looks at that replay, including the dudes up in the booth, should be able to see that this man got hit in the face with studs. I'm sorry, if we're crying about studs on ankles, getting hit in the face, taking a player out of the match because of that.
I think more money would help. But the problem is, since Howard Webb got in charge of VAR, he has started to protect referees' on-field decisions, and they don't overturn as much. That's essentially what they've started to do. They overturn. I'm going to guess here. They haven't released the stats. 80% of on-field decisions are no longer overturned. When we as fans see it and go, how many times have you guys watched games? Forget your own team, and you see the first replay and you go, they get a pen there. Or you Liverpool fans, when you saw Konate literally grabbing Richarlison around the neck, in your heart of hearts, you'd have gone, that's a penalty. But they're not overturning it anymore. So I don't see that. There's just no point having VAR then. You might as well only use it for mistaken identity, because they can just lie now and say, no, that's what I saw, and I'm not. It's gone now.
I think in the beginning, when VAR was even introduced and implemented in the Premier League, I think it's like they overdid it with VAR. Now they're trying to cut back with it. So as you were saying, like VAR is taking too much time, and so the referees were taking too much time looking at the replays and stuff like that. And then we don't want to be refereed by robots. We actually want to be refereed by human beings. No, the correct decisions were actually being brought to the game. Yeah, now it's like 100%. Now you've just gone back now.
And there was a handful of mistakes within it. And there were still grey areas where people disagreed with decisions, but invariably you were looking at it going, well, that's a foul, so they'll overturn it, and now they're not doing it. So yeah, for me, I think it's completely and utterly wrong, and it's starting to definitely. Someone here says Terry on suicide watch. Rohan Williams, bro, don't hurt my feelings. You'll hurt me. I can assure you, I'm not people. I'm gonna finish this show. I'm gonna have a little bit of proper 12. Actually, bought some proper 12 today. The shop name, he's got it. Little bit of proper 12, bit of a Chinese. Watch a bit of TV. I'm gonna have a good night, my friends. Bosh. But I can assure you, what a weird thing to write that Terry Flewers is gonna kill himself tonight.
People don't like seeing people happy.
I'll say this to Rohan. I hope that you're okay, my friend. Writing something like I genuinely, if there's any issues you've got in your life, feel free to send me a DM, brother, and we'll have a chat. I want to move on to the super chat. Sorry, mate, just because I want to respect the viewers that are on here. Let's go to this one here that I haven't put out yet. Sorry, this is the new one. Spurs have been known for being Spursy, but we can all agree that letting Jota like that is worse. That is that was a bigger fist to fry mentality from Spurs.
Letting Jota in, I think.
Letting Jota in like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Again, it was awful from Spurs. I think we would all agree with that. What about Skip's red card tackle? We've already tackled that, my friend, but thank you very much indeed. Jerome here says, thank you, honesty. We got robbed 100%, and it's a red card for sure. Ball crap, Zane. Dangerous play, my guy. Absolutely ridiculous, is what Jerome has had to say about that. X, if you touch the ball but broke man's leg, no red card. Didn't break his leg though. Sorry to all Spurs fans. Agreed. Brighton were robbed. Don't twist this around, is what he said. You did say that, to be fair, Jerome. We were robbed by cheap Paul and VAR. We bottled nothing today, is what Bengal. Do you believe that though, Daniel? I want to ask you, Daniel, as a Spurs fan. Aside from that decision, how disappointed are you with 3 goals in the opening 15 minutes again, and then throwing it away in the dying moment? That itself doesn't directly involve the ref.
It's pure bull. Like Tottenham fans making excuses for themselves already is like a common thing. This is what we do all the time. Oh yeah, the players fought. Oh yeah, we wanted it. We have to give credit to the boys. No, we had 5 minutes to hold the result. Hold the results.
No, you had 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
10 seconds, even worse. 10 seconds. Hold on for 10 seconds. You've done well. You've come back. I don't care that the referees had 2 absolute howlers. And I think, by the way, we're completely forgetting the Richarlison one because the Oliver Skip one was so bad that we're just completely disregarding the penalty, which in my opinion was 100% a penalty. But just want to put that out there. But either way, we had like 6 sitters right in front of goal. Son hit the post like about 3 times. That's unacceptable. That is unexcusable. When you have those chances against Liverpool, if you're not putting them away, I don't care what happens in the refereeing. You bottled it. You bottled it. And we've done what we do best, Terry. We've done what we do best. We've bottled it. Absolutely bottled it. And there's no excuses from any Tottenham fan. I don't want to hear that we gave it our all. This is not under 7 football on the weekend. This is not what this is. It's not about giving it your all. If you can't hold a result for 10 seconds, then that's literally the definition of bottling.
I hear you.
I'm going to say something before I'm going to go quick.
You go on, bro.
Literally, this is why I hate talking about the rest, because for the actual game on Liverpool side, that was shambolic. After the first 15, 20 minutes, shambolic. We were 3-0 up. We let them back. If Jota didn't score that goal, we'll be having a very, very different conversation right now. And we can't talk about the midfield because it wasn't really the midfield today. It was our defense, starting from Robertson, having that lazy. I know they scored before that, but Robertson for Kulusevski's chance, lazy passes. I've said this a week ago. My problem with this Liverpool defense is that they don't know how to clear balls. It's not about the passing. They don't know how to clear a ball. Basics of defending. We don't know how to do it. Now, it's up to Klopp to revamp the team next summer or do what you need to do. But my word, I don't want to hear anything about the midfield right now because the midfield did all right today, at least. It was the defense that was shambolic. Konate, I rate Konate a lot. He wasn't good today. Van Dijk, his ankles got broke. We're gonna have to hold that. His ankles got broke. We're gonna have to hold that. The only person that I would say right now that is exempt for this is Alisson, because there was nothing that he could do for any of those goals. But my goodness, our defense it's been like this the whole year. But what we live as Liverpool fans will say is that the midfield is the midfield. Obviously, you control. They have to track back and stuff like that. We have to put our defense in a microscope and say this season alone, it has not been good enough at all. But
mate,
yeah,
I know you've got to shoot, and we'll definitely move back onto Liverpool in a minute because I wanted to speak about that. In terms of Tottenham, carrying on from your point, Daniel, why is this team, when you start games now, why don't you press anymore? Why don't you hurry your teams? Why don't you essentially work hard? Why has this Tottenham team become so kind of defensive? Why do they sit back? Why do they let everybody, whether it's Man United, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's Bournemouth, come onto them in numbers and apply the pressure? Because you do it with multiple managers, with or without managers. They're gone and sacked and the players are still doing it. You typically only come alive when you're losing. What do you think is leading to the way Spurs play right now? What is it? Is it confidence, players, what?
Mentality is weak player mentality, and that's all it is to it. Dyer's been here for 10 years. Davies been here for 11 years. This enough is enough. These players have been stinking up the pitch for years, and we're talking about signing them to extensions. That's the mentality of Spurs. So when players come here and they're like, oh, who's been here for a long time? Maybe they could show me the ropes around the building. Dyer's like, here's the physio room where you'll spend ×3 the amount of time you're expected to spend there because it's a black hole of the physio room because they don't know how to do their job in there. It's systematic problems, the ethos of this club. I mean, we could go on and on. I'm trying to keep it to the game and less about the ownership because, I mean, Daniel Levy was there and I do want to blame him first and foremost, so don't get it twisted. But the reason why these players have the mentality is because If they don't get their way, they go right upstairs and talk to the head honcho. And this shouldn't be like that at a club. I don't know what club a player has a problem with the manager and he can go talk to the damn chairman of the board and essentially have a players committee meeting that he had. And that's why we let Stellini go, because the players, you know, we all came to a consensus that maybe Ryan Mason should be the one in charge, which also I want to add a caveat to that. When you have your skipper, your captain, your leader, Hugo Lloris, quit on the team at halftime because we capitulated 5 goals in 20 minutes versus Newcastle, and he just quit. Now he's injured. Oh, my back hurts. I can't do this no more. That's the mentality of these players. How long has Hugo been here? How long has he been our skipper? He gets a drink driving? No consequences. He lets 5 go in a halftime? Oh, yeah, go ahead and take the rest of the day off, sir. You've done enough. That's the mentality of this club. These players, the mentality. You have to clear out house, in my opinion. You got to wipe them out from board to manager to physio to players. It's a shambles of a club. We're refund FC right now, and that's the problem, though, Terry. To answer your question, long story short, it's mentality. These players are weak in the head. Conte hit it on the head.
Yeah, I think they're scared, Terry. I think they always start a game. They always seem to be scared, and then once they go 2-3-0 down, they think, well, we've got nothing to lose anyway. Once that pressure is off them, then they go. So they're clearly not that strong in personality. Like some people, when you apply pressure, they fold, and some people they rise to it and they stand up and they fight. And a lot of these players, and like what Jacob was saying, like. I mean, I still can't believe players like Dyer, you know, we're talking about offering him an extension for 2 years. What? Dyer. And this is the thing. He's now one of the so-called senior players, somebody who I wouldn't, you know, he's championship level kind of defender. He's not a
MLS.
Defender.
He's MLS. Let's keep it right.
Yeah. And when he came to Tottenham, he was a midfielder. He was a defensive midfielder anyway. But I think he always wanted to play in defense. So whoever it was, I think it was Jose Mourinho that first put him there.
And I always wanted to play striker, but I'm a keeper.
No.
That's the
No. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. He was playing center defensive mid. Pochettino is the one that changed him to center back. You know why? Because he wasn't good enough to play center defensive mid. Yeah. So this is the thing I say about these players.
And plus, Tottenham weren't buying him players that he needed. You know,
a lot of people say about these players, like they're not good. They're not defensive players. They're not attacking players. They don't play good in this certain role. They're not good at attacking football. They're not good at defensive football. They're just not good at football. That's just how it is. They're not good at any style, any position. Half of these players are just, their mentalities are so weak. And I don't even think that they're scared. I just think that they're comfortable. I think that they've been at this club so long that they know, oh, yeah, we can concede 3 goals in 15 minutes. We can concede 5 goals in 21 minutes. Well, and nothing will happen.
There's no consequence. Dan.
There's no consequence. They're just comfortable. They're just
you get a 3-year extension if you do that, Dan. What'd you do? Nothing today. Here's 3 more years.
But as a rival, I'm not going to lie. As a rival, none of your players, apart from Harry Kane, would get into a top team, right? Let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, totally agree with what Dan's saying there. Is that the quality you've got is not good enough to compete at the top level, right? And that's the facts. And at some point, obviously, you need to change owner, but you're never going to get anywhere with the quality you've got in your squad. And until that gets addressed, you're going to keep getting this heartbreak, and it's going to be peak times for you going forward, because even if you get a great world-class manager in, you've tried to get some good quality managers in, you can't do anything with shit. Do you know what I mean? You can't make it into gold. It's the facts.
Zane, I agree where you're coming from. I do think there's a mentality issue, but I think a lot of that is board-led. Like I said before, we as football fans, the older ones have forgotten a little bit, and I think younger football fans don't remember that in the olden days, so 15, 20 years back, you had managers now aren't managers, they're coaches, they're head coaches. The managers were the Michael Edwards and the Jurgen Klopps all in one. That's what they did. And they kind of run the boardroom. They run everything from a football standpoint. There was commercial teams that did everything else. They set the tone. And I think Daniel Levy and his team do not set the tone of win at all costs, be the very best. That's all these things we're doing off the field, the go-karts, Gaga, Beyonce, Retete. That isn't to generate the money to make us the best team in the world. It's to make us as valuable as possible. And the players know that. That's why they get away with not winning to a degree. Then you have what Zane said. Then there's players that are just not good enough. Like Oliver Skip played well today, but he is no top 6. The way I look at it is this: how many players do you have that other top teams in England and Europe want to buy? That's when you know. That's when you know how good your squad is. And if you go back 5 years ago with Tottenham, you know, with Eldevir, Toby when he was at the back, when you had Vertonghen, Danny Rose for a while. You obviously had what's his name, Dembele,
Kieran Trippier,
Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen,
Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen in their pomp. Harry Kane. You had Son. So many players that other teams wanted or would have in their teams. Now there's one. So it's about investing in the right people, developing a team. Because I look at the way you play, and it is partly mentality, but the way you sit back, it's what the smaller teams do when they know they don't have the capability to go toe to toe, and that's got to change. And
Terry,
go on, mate.
I think overall, I think one big thing that they're also missing is some sort of identity. Like we remember Pochettino's style of football, as expressions used to like to say, champagne football. But now they went to Mourinho, went to Conte, and obviously had a little bit of time Scalini, who played very, very defensive football, very pragmatic football as well. I think what Tottenham need to do is just start again and bring in a manager that they want to personify this identity that they want to have.
Manager don't matter, bro.
Exactly.
Manager
But
don't
the thing
matter.
is,
No, but a manager that actually plays the style of football that your club wants to play.
Yeah, but if you have a bunch of
but the
people who can't
reality
play regardless, it doesn't matter if Jesus Christ descends from the heavens.
That's what I'm saying. Bring in the manager that has this idea of playing a style of football, like we did with Jurgen Klopp, and overhaul the squad. Because some of the players that you have, you're right, it's not good enough to play this style.
I'll tell you what.
Bro, Pep couldn't get a tune out of these guys.
That's what we have to do, but the thing is that will never happen. At the end of the day, we're going to stick with these crap players, the Deadwood. We're going to stay with it. And at the end of the day, you could bring in Sir Alex Ferguson back from retirement, Pep Guardiola, have them both work together, and they still won't be able to get this team to work. Because at the end of the day, you can get the best manager in world football. You can get a great manager with crap players. It will never work. Never. Yeah. That will never ever work.
Because that happens because of Levy. Because basically what happens is, look, the best thing that Levy ever did was appoint Pochettino, because Pochettino was the kind of manager that can work under a chairman like Daniel Levy, because Daniel Levy was buying the players and Pochettino was coaching them and bringing the best out of those players. So far in the history, I'm old enough to remember the start of the Premier League. So since the Premier League has started, probably before Pochettino, probably Harry Redknapp was the manager that sort of got the best out of Tottenham. But after that, Pochettino was our probably best era, for like 4 or 5 year era. And that's the one time when Levy actually made the right choice. He brought in the right type of manager to get the best out of the kind of decisions that Levy makes. But that's why someone like Jose Mourinho, someone like Conte, even someone like Pep Guardiola, I totally agree. If you bring Pep Guardiola to Tottenham, it's not going to work, because Pep Guardiola at Manchester City says, right, I want so-and-so, I want so-and-so, I want so-and-so. I want this type of player, this type of player. He has...
And that's to play a particular identity. And I think that and win how he's winning. And I was listening to the Overlap the other day, and they were talking about the end of Fergie's era. And Gary Neville was talking about how what he did in those last 2 or 3 years when the club were just not buying him the players he wanted, and you still were able to win titles. Spurs could get away with that if they'd had a core built over 20 years and one of the greatest managers of all time. But no disrespect, you don't have that core and you don't have that kind of manager. Pep could still win you guys trophies with a decent squad, but he'd never win you back-to-back league titles or anything along those lines. In terms of Liverpool, though, gents, I wanted to ask you because, again, scintillating start. I know you get the win, but surely that can't paper over the cracks, Zane, of throwing away a 3-goal lead. And after that third goal, you didn't have a shot on target until the winner. The defense getting exposed again and again and again. Surely some big changes needed in the summer, personnel-wise, for Jurgen Klopp. And if so, who are the players that have to go from this team, in your opinion?
Okay, so I disagree with that Liverpool fan who sort of left when he made this point about it's on the defense. I've been saying consistently for the past couple of seasons now, our midfield is the issue. Because, again, if you saw the City game earlier today, Fulham had opportunities and stuff, but the difference was their midfield at the right times managed to control the ball and just keep possession and just play the game out. We don't have that. All we've got at the moment is either go forward full on and then get exposed at the back because there's no one covering. So from my point of view, Henderson has to go, definitely. I've been calling him a donkey for 4 years now, and people are now starting to understand why I've been calling him a donkey for so long. Fabinho needs a backup because he's unreliable. I know you've got the young kid, but again, young kids do get a lot of injuries. Harvey Elliott, I'm sorry, I don't know what this brother does for our team. Again, what value does he bring? Nothing. Curtis Jones, I do like because at least he's pressing and he's trying to play the way Jurgen Klopp likes to play. Because I think people forget when Liverpool was successful, we were known for winning the ball back in the opposition's half. And that's down to the midfield pressing alongside with the forwards and getting those balls and recycling it and putting that constant pressure on for 5-10 minutes to a point we got the goal. Then, and we just broke teams down. They just sort of gave up, right? Unfortunately, as you can see now, you can just walk through that middle and it's just one ball over the top. And then our defense is basically exposed. And the problem with the way Klopp plays is the reason why our defense is so high is he's expecting the ball to be won back in the opposition's pitch. Therefore, that high line doesn't get exposed. Unfortunately, as we've seen time and time again this season and last season, our midfielders cannot control the game, i.e. get hold of the ball, knock it around for 5 minutes, see through a tough period, get the momentum out of the opposition's team, and then build up and then build your own momentum. That never happens. It's constantly every neutral who watches Liverpool, it's an exciting game because it's end to end. There's no control in it. It's all attack or we're getting opportunities against us. So I think fundamentally it's got to be a real serious look at the way we play and the Jurgen style of football.
Can I ask you a question on that very quickly? In case you forget. You're basically saying, like, because of the midfield, correct me if I'm wrong, because of your midfield, the high line gets exposed.
A lot of times, yeah, because the way, like I said,
paraphrasing, just for interest of time.
Because when we were playing well.
So okay. Like, I'm not trying to debate it. I'm just trying to understand you very, very simplistically. That's then why I've been calling out your manager, and I get told not to, because if your midfield is too weak and poor to stop your back line from being exposed because it's high, why not drop it 10 yards further back and not leak all these goals? Because if you weren't leaking all the goals you have, especially away from home, you would be in the top 4 at the very least, meaning you'd have Champions League football next year. And I think that's where balance is needed. You need new personnel in midfield. I do also think you need new defenders. But this is where Jurgen Klopp has a weakness and an arrogance of, this is how I play football, and I'm not going to adjust based on your logic.
No, Terry, and I'll add to that point. I do agree with what you're saying to a point. I totally agree with that in terms of if you ain't got the players, change your style of football, right? But again, one thing that sometimes gets dismissed is FSG don't buy it's not like a Pep where Pep gets everything he wants. Jurgen is a company man, right? Whether fans agree with it or dislike it, he will toe the company line, a bit like Arsene Wenger used to do, and basically make excuses for the fact that behind the scenes he wanted certain kind of players to fit his style of football, and he hasn't, and he never got them. You could argue then, surely if you're not getting your players that you need, why you're playing the style of football you are, because you're just exposing yourself and you're going to make your life harder, which he has.
I hear where you're coming from. I want to get Ram's take on this as well, please, in terms of just things that you need to improve, because again, you won today, which is obviously well done. Top 4 race is still alive. If United lose a couple, we're back-to-back away games now for Man United. We lose both of them, which people think is conceivable. You're back in this top 4 race. But where do you really see the improvement needed for next season to go back to title challenging level, which is the only level that's acceptable to you as fans?
Quite a lot, Terry. Quite a lot. I'm not a massive fan of how I was very happy with Klopp changing the system with the inverted fullbacks, but going forward, if we're going to put Trent in the middle of the park, we're going to have to get a right back, because that left-hand side is just even more exposed now because it's just Konate doing his job now. And everyone else, especially with that first goal, everyone else starts to get dragged out. Virgil got dragged out, and then Robbo is the only man in the box where there's two men. I think it was both Kane and Kulusevski. That inverted fullback thing, I'm cool with it until the rest of the season. But going forward next season, we need to change something with this because I don't like to see it as a long-term solution. And like Zane said, I think the only positive we can take out is probably Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is the only player that's actually can walk with his head held high today to an extent, and probably a couple of the full attacking players, and obviously Alisson, because the guy's been almost a revelation since this new formation, and is important, and he's been an important part of how we sort of had this little mini resurgence, but. There's so many things wrong with this. I think it's good that we made the changes, but it's not going to work. We're just even more exposed at this moment. Because look, granted, we played a relatively top team in Tottenham, but we conceded 2 goals against Nottingham Forest. We conceded a goal against Leeds. Granted, it was a mistake. We conceded 3 against Tottenham. They almost did a Istanbul on us.
No,
like,
of course, and that Forest game last Saturday, that overhead kick at the end goes in, or the chance,
the Brennan Johnson chance that hit the post.
And again, Liverpool fans will say, "Oh, we won. Why are you pulling us up on it?" Well, I'm judging Liverpool on the standards of your. As much as this pains me to say it as a United fan, your club is too historic to be happy with coming 5th or scraping 4th. The standards are sky high, and it's about how to improve them.
It's just Terry. There's the problems that we're facing is when we're both winning and losing. And it's quite evident to see. And like, I know Klopp had a go at us for saying that we need transfers, but honestly, from the looks of things, we do need a lot of work being done to this team.
I agree. Just onto these super chats here. Millie actually, a comment, said Klopp always played like that. Terry, you did a piece with Adam on Fan Park Live, and VVD came in and won these one-on-one duels. I get he always plays like that, but I'll call him out in the same way I did back then. If you don't have the facilities to yield results that are the only results that are acceptable to Liverpool fans is putting you into title races and winning and contention to win Champions Leagues. If you don't have the facilities, you've got to adapt. So that's what this summer you need to go out and get world-class talent, whatever it costs. Otherwise, the system isn't going to work again. And I think that's why, and this is why sometimes Liverpool fans get me wrong. They'll say, "Oh, we're not going to go out and buy Klopp what he wants." Then you need a different manager. Because Klopp needs what he needs to make the system work so that he can take you to where he wants to be. Otherwise, you're disrespecting Jurgen Klopp as much as anything else, because he will fail with lesser quality because his system has its sort of the sort of chinks in the armor if you don't have the world-class representation in the right position. So it's very much on FSG.
I think, Terry, in regard to this summer, right, I think we always say this every summer, but this is the actual summer where Klopp is going to be tested on whether he's actually going to fulfill his role as a cutthroat manager. Because if we don't get the signings that we get, there's going to be a lot of fans on him, and myself included, because I've always tried to back him. I've always tried to defend him, saying that it might have been the owners. But this is the last straw for me this window.
Just going back to what you were saying, Terry, funny enough, that's exactly why it went wrong with Conte. Because Conte is in that same kind of level as Klopp. You know, you have to, if you're going to bring in a manager like Conte, then you really need to fill that team up with the type of players that he wins, you know, because he's won everywhere he's gone. You know, like with Jose Mourinho, he was a little bit past his best, I would say. He was definitely past his
No, he got us to a final. He got us to a final.
Literally, like a few years after, he goes to Rome. Not even a few years.
Well, actually,
a year after, he goes to Rome. He went to the Conference League, and now he's about to win the Europa League.
100%. But most managers now
might win it again.
Don't really have adaptations to their style. They play one way, and I've not got an issue with that. But if the squad they've got isn't being built within that style, then it becomes pointless them being there because they'll foul.
You're setting yourself up to fail.
Exactly. Manny here says, a wise man once said, "Lads, it's Tottenham." An unwise man once said, "End the stream, blood. X and Co can return to their loan for Man City now," is what Manny says. We have zero philosophy. This is from Jerome, the Spurs fan. And the only manager that gave us a do and die attitude is going to Chelsea. Of course, Mauricio Pochettino. Debbie here says, I'm pretty sure Jurgen will have intense training and be angry after. But Terry, I cannot believe you're not more angry at Spurs. As a Man United fan, you should rant at the Spurs. I mean, I'm not angry with either because I'm a Man United fan, but I did in the opening monologue. I was far more on Spurs than I was Liverpool. So maybe you
Terry,
missed.
can I just have a quick comment on just if we're talking about this game alone?
Yeah.
Even I said a lot about the system. The players today take a bulk of the responsibility because I don't know what the hell that was. Because that was one of the worst performances after 20 minutes that I've ever seen in my life. We couldn't pass a ball together, and we couldn't even make a decent play. Like it was horrendous. And do you know what else was worse? The fans today, they were almost as complacent as the players, because I kept on hearing Tottenham fans saying, "Do you want us to sing a song for you?" Like it was that the whole situation at Anfield, the players, fans, everything was just so low tempoed after 20 minutes. It was almost as if we thought we were going to win.
Totally agree.
By the way, big up
I
to all
think
the
this
Tottenham
game was
away
a
fans.
prime example of what's wrong with both teams. I really do. I think this game properly showed what is up with both teams because
No, the best title for today's game. I said it earlier. The good, the bad, the ugly. You literally saw that from all three teams today. Jay here says, we pay the ref more if they work like this. I would rather make the refs league when they get relegated or promoted on merit. That actually does exist, Jay, to be fair with you. Doesn't work very well, but it exists. I meant argument. He touched the ball, not relevant there, is what Omar says. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Casemiro won the ball and got a red card, so you can touch it and get away with it. I understand why people would say a red. I just get sick and tired of the inconsistencies personally. Yes, the ref was bad, but Spurs has a bottle mentality. We all agree, I think. They should go behind a bar and serve.
I think he's talking about the referees.
Okay, right. I get you now. These referees must gamble or some sort. Maybe they do. And Debbie here says, no, that it was. I don't understand with Spurs. Yes, the ref was poor, but you have the game tied, and then 10 seconds later, Jota scores the winner. Shameful. And Debbie's right there. Debbie's absolutely spot on. Like, as much as the referee was bad, you can't excuse that.
Well, if they're down to 10 men, it might be different.
Maybe. Director of football, most high line.
Most important.
Oh, most important. Yeah, okay, cool. Right. Most important. High line overused by players is what Omar says. Yeah. Sometimes I don't understand what the abbreviation means.
Can I make a point which may be controversial, right?
Jesus, what's it going to be?
No.
You only make controversial points.
No. The thing is, right, when I say stuff, people think I'm chatting shit, but it generally tends to be quite true. I've got a good track record and some more shit I say, right? Thank you, Arteta, for giving... Ram, let's not go there, bro. But anyway, thank you, Arteta, for giving Klopp the inverted fullback kind of system, because as I did call out, I said that I'm confident that Liverpool will win the last 9, 10, 8 games of the season, which they're sort of doing. They're on track to do that. But I'm actually thinking next season, obviously this is dependent on getting some good quality midfielders in that. I think we're going to do really well next season. I think based on what I've seen and the progression in the past couple of games, we're not as bad as we felt we were at the start. Because if Curtis Jones stays healthy, he's definitely a decent addition to the team. Batatek definitely showed his quality. We just need a couple, about 3 or 4 players, definitely some support on the right back and the left back, because there's a bit there. But I honestly think, saying it now, next season, watch out for Liverpool. All you rivals, be scared. They're coming for you.
Fair enough. And you know what? If you spend in the summer, you should be challenging for the Premier League title. You've got one of the best managers in the world. You've still got lots of world-class players at your squad. You spend 200 odd million with what you've already spent this year. There is no excuse, because you're not in a rebuild. You're not in transition.
We were this season. No.
Listen, when you've had the same manager as long as you have, the only reason your squad falls apart is if the manager and your team have made bad decisions, and they should be You know, there is no rebuild. There's a constant process at every club. But Pep and Klopp, with how long they've been at Liverpool and City, they're judged purely on what they win and don't win each season. That's it. And big year for big year for Liverpool next year.
Terry, you said
It's all on the
if.
summer. It's all on the summer.
If. The big word is if. I'm not convinced that whether we're going to actually sign the players that we need to. That's
we
the
will
thing,
see.
man.
But yeah, and we'll cover that in the summer. There's no doubt about it. Listen, I want to thank all my viewers for tuning into the show today. I really appreciate it. The panel, you've been amazing as ever. We're back tomorrow. Fan channel review in the morning. Be some afternoon content, and then the top 6 show at 6 p.m. So very much looking forward to that after another exhilarating weekend of football. Make sure you smash the like button before you leave. Please subscribe to the Football Terrace as well. And make sure you turn on bell notifications because the algorithm is not your friend. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank